All right, welcome back to reality. Did the fairy godmother lie to us? And we were talking about Cinderella
Hmm.
and all the fabulous women, hundreds of women that were at the ball waiting to be chosen by the prince, and he could
Hmm.
only pick one. And it just had me thinking about society today in regards to the hundreds of women. We all want the same man. 6 feet tall, or or more than 6 feet tall, six figures, white collar, take care of me. I can work if I want to, not work, all of that. Have this lifestyle,
Right.
the rich and famous lifestyle to be able to do whatever I want to do.
Hmm.
And so when I was watching Cinderella and thinking about these women, you had men at the ball.
But everybody's eyes was on the
High
high
value
valued
man,
one.
Prince Charming.
And guess what? The math ain't mathing.
Absolutely
That
not.
was a shortage. It's a shortage of those. Just like it was in
So,
Cinderella's day.
it's like that right now. So, ladies, what do we do?
Hmm.
Or what happened to those ladies? Did they say, I guess I'll just settle for this one right here since there's no Prince Charming? Um, in this day and time, because of the influence of social media and things like this, and you have women saying, I'm not settling. I
Hmm.
want what I want.
Hmm.
Hypergamy is fine. I get that. I know you want what you want. I wanted what I wanted.
Hmm.
And that's all right. But are we setting realistic
Right.
expectations?
And the question is, while you want what you want, he
He
wants
wants
what
what
he
he
wants.
wants.
And
Absolutely.
are you sufficient enough for him? Just like you
Mm.
want him to be sufficient enough for you.
Mm.
So, what that
Mm-hmm.
says is if you want to attract someone with high value,
Mm-hmm.
then that means you need to carry yourself to be high value.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I see women all the time have these huge lists of negotiables or non
Yeah, did
negotiables.
you ever have a list?
I never had a
I
list.
had a list.
Did you? But see, you got to understand, I was only
I know you was
21.
21, but I had a list, but my list was not like the ladies their list.
Okay.
I wasn't six figures and you had to have this and that. That was not
Yeah.
on my list, but you
Right.
did need to like have a job to
You
be able
need
to
to
take
work.
care of yourself.
Yeah.
So yeah, but go ahead. I'm sorry. I just had to throw
Wow.
that out there.
Wow. You had a list.
I had a list.
Oh,
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
So I guess the list worked out because here you are.
He got most of those check marks. He checked off most of them. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, I don't remember what I was saying,
Oh, sorry.
but that's okay.
Yeah.
But I think what I was saying was
Oh, if you're
making
sufficient,
sure that you're sufficient
right.
while you have expectations for him. Because
Mm-hmm.
I see a lot of ladies who say they want this high value man, and yet they're not working on, increasing educationally so that they can get it, or working on their scaling their business if they're entrepreneurs. Like, I see them doing all these things, steady dating men who are not what they say the standard is, or having babies by those men
Mm-hmm.
continuously.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Mm-hmm.
how are you going to go down the rank? You know what I mean? And you're wanting somebody to be,
Mm-hmm.
you want to pull somebody that's up the rank,
Mm-hmm.
because
Mm-hmm.
you're constantly making decisions that's taking you down the
Right. Yeah.
rank.
You don't make good decisions. Sound, solid, good decisions.
Hmm.
And why is that?
Hmm.
And that's why I talk about all the time as far as self awareness, asking yourself, why do I do the things that I do?
Hmm.
And then I do think that the women at the ball, that it was actually a good thing that they had to step back and look at themselves. I think, that's important. You mentioned that earlier in regards to, I understand as far as the rejection piece,
Yeah.
but I think sometimes things like that need to happen because we need to do the work.
Hmm.
We would go get our education, we would research a company and make sure we know that company inside out. We will prep, get ourselves together for their career. And a lot of women don't realize that you got to do the same thing
For your mental,
for your mental
for your emotions,
emotions
and even for your own body, keeping yourself in shape.
and
All of that is
mm-hmm,
is necessary,
mm-hmm,
because the high value man does it.
right. And
If
you have to do that in order to get that romantic relationship that you want, you got to put in the work.
You have
A
to.
lot of us don't want to put in the work.
Mm-hmm.
I have too much to do with my career and things. I put in the work in. Over here, I don't have time to do that for a man. He just needs to offer me the things that I want.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have to do anything. I'm the full package because I have the education, I have the career, I got the car, I got the house, I have the beauty, so I have the fine dress, I work out. So what else is he looking for? You know, I'm the full package. But what they don't understand, that's not what a high value man looks at. That's it's more to it,
Mm-hmm.
because in actuality, yes, you know, education is important. You have to have good sense,
Mm-hmm.
because you will be raising his legacy.
Right.
You know, so he does want his intellectual equal.
Mm-hmm.
I've heard people say, well, high value man doesn't want his intellectual equal. He doesn't want an idiot raising his children. I'm just
Right.
being real.
Right.
He does
Right.
not.
He wants to be able to have a conversation.
Exactly. He wants you to be able to like teach his children something,
Mm-hmm.
you know,
Right.
setting the foundation, because the mom is the nurturer and spending a lot of time with the children and educating them. So
Mm-hmm.
you do have to have some sense.
Absolutely.
So, you know, those are the things we need to start looking at as far as transforming. I always say that sometimes we do have to tweak, modify our own behavior to get what we want.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I want you guys to click in the 2 links that we have in our comments to help you jumpstart your transformation,
Mm-hmm.
to help get the help that you may need in order to start this journey to be able to develop the interpersonal relationships in regards to your romantic life.
Mm-hmm.
And when I think about those hundreds of women at the ball, and I think about when you speak about rejection and questioning what's wrong with me, and just going back to the interactions that the prince did have with Cinderella before she came to the ball, when she had the raggedy clothes and things like that. But he was intrigued by her before she came to that ball.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason why he was intrigued by her, because she was not like the other women.
Not like the other women. There was something unique and different.
You have to stand out.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said before, she had the sweetest personality. And if you think about just the women in the town and the prestigious families, they had that uppity attitude.
Snooty.
Snooty,
And
I'm
our
all of that,
in our day, bougie.
bougie personality. And like you mentioned, the stepsisters,
Mm-hmm.
and how they were just mean. They were
Right.
just downright mean. They wasn't very attractive. They made sure that in the story they wasn't. But you know, they had their clothes and they just thought they were better than her.
Right, right.
But he was intrigued by her because she had a sense of mystery.
Mm-hmm.
The way she carried herself, even though she didn't have the fine clothing, she didn't have the makeup or the hairstyle, but she was graceful.
She had her own uniqueness.
She had her own uniqueness, and she
Mm-hmm.
had a softness about her,
Mm-hmm.
and he was intrigued.
Let's talk about that softness.
Yes, ma'am.
How
Let's go.
important that is
Yeah.
when it comes to men and what they're looking for. I don't know a straight man
Mm-hmm.
who want his woman to match his masculinity.
Oh yeah.
I don't know
Oh
of
yeah.
one. If
Yeah.
y'all know of one out there,
I
y'all
don't
please
know.
let me know.
Mm-mm.
But I don't know a straight man that wants a woman to match his masculinity. Masculinity. But he really wants that confident yet soft enough person to be able to coexist. Because if you are too strong of a woman in terms of wanting to take over, wanting to lead, wanting to make all of the decisions, wanting to, overtalk him, wanting to be the one to set the balance for the house or discipline the children, that is not attractive to a man. That's not attractive.
No,
It's not attractive.
It's not attractive at all. And what's interesting about that, so many women would say, of course, they believe in the Bible
Mm-hmm.
and what the Bible says as far as the man being the head of a household, but you won't let him lead.
But you won't let him lead.
You won't let him lead. You want him to do all these things and follow God's word, but you don't want to follow God's word.
Mm-hmm.
He just supposed to accept you for who you are in your masculinity.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
That masculine energy
Mm-hmm.
will cause him to retreat, will cause him to check out,
Mm-hmm.
will cause him to go to his man cave and
Mm-hmm.
say, "Hey, you want to run it? You can
And
run it."
cause him to go astray.
And start having wandering eyes.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
You know, sometimes you can
Absolutely.
push your man out into the in the line of fire,
Yeah.
because there
Yeah.
are some hungry, not hungry, they call them thirsty. There are some thirsty women out there because
They
there
are
is a
thirsty.
shortage. There's a shortage
Mm-hmm.
of men,
And they are lurking around, just waiting.
and a ring don't mean a ring
A ring
means
doesn't mean anything.
nothing in this day and age.
Yeah.
A
Yeah.
ring means, yay, I don't have to
Yeah.
be attached at the hip to you,
Right.
but I can use you as I need to.
Right.
Isn't that something? We're in a society where the women have that mentality. The women have a mentality to be a user. Back in the day, it was just mostly men that
Mm-hmm.
had that
Mm-hmm.
that mentality, that dog
Mm-hmm.
mentality.
Mm-hmm.
But we're in a new day. We're in a different hour.
We're in a new day, in a different hour, different time, where women say, if men can do it, so can I.
Wow,
So I mean, they do, so why can't I?
that baffles me.
Yeah. Yeah. And when you talk about masculinity, living life as a single mother, I was masculine.
Mm-hmm.
I had to be
Yeah.
in order to survive,
Mm-hmm.
in order to maintain a household.
Right. And we have that. You know, we
Yeah.
have situations where you have to do what you
Yeah.
have to do.
Yeah.
But we have to know that
Yeah.
when that man shows up, it's time to roll that back in.
And trust me, if you anything like me, you won't have a problem
you
relinquishing
readily
control. Like
give it
really,
over.
like I don't have to do that. I
Right.
can like relax. I
Mm-hmm.
can like breathe.
Mm-hmm.
I can pay attention to my children.
Mm-hmm.
I can actually do that.
Yeah.
So when we're talking about these women at the ball and they had that moment when they felt rejected
Mm-hmm.
and Cinderella got the
Right.
prize. And so we have these other men around. I know the story ended, but I just wonder, did they get
Right.
married? And if we think about the black community, when 26% of the black women are married, so that leaves 74% that's not. So if we make that connection with the ball, majority of those women did not.
Mm-hmm.
They did not. And I wonder, is it because of the expectations?
Mm-hmm.
And one of the comments that I made earlier, how some women is messing it up for us, is
Mm-hmm.
because they're accepting anything.
Mm-hmm.
I do believe that as women, we have more control than we think.
Mm-hmm.
If you can put that thing on lockdown, clink clink,
Mm-hmm.
and communicate and say, this is what I want from you.
I'm glad you said that,
Because yes, yeah, and
because I
this is
have a story to go with
yeah,
that. Go ahead.
yeah, yeah. Well, I was thinking about you.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
I was thinking about you.
So that's my
Yes,
story.
yeah. Women, and women a lot of times don't want to do that because they're afraid they're going to lose the man. That's a chance that you take, sis.
It's a chance you have to take.
Yeah.
So same thing happened to me when I was
Mm-hmm.
dating my husband. We were I was already pregnant,
Mm-hmm.
and he had given his life to Christ, and later on I gave my life to Christ, and we knew that sex before marriage is wrong. We came into that realization that
Right.
okay, we
Right.
two believers now, so we need to stop this. But
Mm-hmm.
you know, temptation there, we live together.
Mm-hmm.
So temptation come, we yield. There we go again.
Mm-hmm.
Doing what married people do. We're not married. We living
Right.
together.
Right.
So finally I said, this ain't right. I got conviction. I'm sure he did too, but I stood up and I said, we're not doing this anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Period.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't even 2 weeks later. I had a ring on my finger and we got married.
Right.
But it came
Right.
to, because he could have said, well, fine, you move out, we go on about our
Right.
business, whatever.
Right.
I took that chance.
Right.
And here we are 32 years later, but I stood and I created a standard and he rose to it in that moment.
Yeah.
So be okay with setting a standard and trusting that somebody will respect you enough for that standard.
Right. And then you brought that up and you had that period of time when you had that communication
Mm-hmm.
and the realization
Yep.
what you wanted for your life,
What I
you
wanted.
wanted for your child,
Mm-hmm.
and you set that standard.
I did. I never mentioned marriage to my husband. Not
Mm-hmm.
one day when we were dating did I mention marriage. I never did.
Mm-hmm.
Because like I said, you went from just out there in the street to
Mm-hmm.
now you're pregnant, now you're trying to work things out. So I never mentioned marriage. We were just together. We had been together for a year and a half,
Mm-hmm.
but I didn't mention it. But I knew from a little girl because my grandparents were married very long till death
Mm-hmm.
did them part. They were
Mm-hmm.
married. So they were my example. Although it wasn't a perfect example, I knew that they were together and they stayed together. So I had an
Yeah.
example of what it looked like to stay together regardless of how much you fuss and fight.
Mm-hmm.
You were together.
Mm-hmm.
So I always knew that I would be married. In fact, I almost had like a vision as a little girl. And it's almost like I saw a silhouette of my husband. I knew how he was built. He was a well built man. He was a very attractive, handsome man to me. And so I knew I would get married one day. So there
Mm-hmm.
was always the expectation, and just how it played out was differently than, how I saw it. But
Yeah.
here we are today.
Right. So, did you believe in the Cinderella story since you knew all of that?
I loved Cinderella as a girl. So I think every little girl believed in that story.
Yeah,
But I don't
yeah.
I don't think I equated it to my situation at the
Right.
moment. But
Right.
yes, I believed in Cinderella and wouldn't have minded my story
Yeah.
because I grew up very poor, same as Cinderella. So I could identify to a certain extent to her as well.
Oh wow. Are you Cinderella?
I will say I have my prince. I have my king. He's king
Yeah.
now. He's not prince.
Yeah.
But I
Yeah.
will say, I wouldn't say that there's a perfect relationship. There's not a perfect
It
marriage
doesn't exist.
because neither one of us are perfect. We bring
Absolutely.
our imperfections in,
Right.
but we make a decision to work on, those imperfections, those selfishness, those selfish ways. You know what I mean? And you make a decision to work on them, and it can evolve into a wonderful thing. So
Mm-hmm.
it has.
So, I guess the question of this episode is did the fairy godmother lie to us? Because the story gives you the impression that each and every one of us will find our Prince Charming,
I
will
think,
get our Prince
yeah.
Charming.
I think it is possible with the right formula.
Mm-hmm.
If you have one person who's willing to work on themselves,
Mm-hmm.
and you have another person who's willing to work on themselves, and they bring those two things together with the standards and values that they have, and the standards and values that they have, yes, I do believe it's
Okay.
possible.
So, but what? But I want that high value man. I want
Now,
that six figures.
if you are an
That's on my list.
yeah, yeah, and I'm got and I'm not gonna take no for an answer. But if you are unrealistic in your,
Yes.
list, then no,
Right.
you're
Right.
it's a fairy tale to you.
So what I do? Just be alone with the dog.
I would
Just say,
say
yeah.
if you are refusing to work on you and change, you will be alone
I agree.
with the dog.
I
But
agree.
if you choose to continue to work, um, and increase in value in terms
Mhm.
of, you know, where you are in life, always moving and
Mhm.
not be
Mhm.
complacent and stagnant.
Absolutely.
I mean, if there may be some other complacent, stagnant people out there
Mhm.
for you,
Mhm.
and maybe you guys will connect.
Yeah.
But if you're wanting someone who's, high value, then don't you complacency is off the table. You
Yeah.
cannot be. You have to be working on yourself and growing and
And be
evolving and
flexible and
flexible.
be
Hmm.
hold yourself accountable
Right.
and realize that hey, maybe there are some things that I need to tweak.
Yeah.
So I would say to the ladies at the ball, that rejection may have opened the door for them to do some self-reflection in
Yes.
regards to well, hey, uh Matthew over here, he's not looking too bad, you know.
Right. Right. Now that the prince is gone, I can see Matthew.
I see Matthew. Hey, I see you
I
over
ain't know
there.
Matthew had
I
no
ain't really noticed him lately.
brown eyes.
You know
Yeah,
that he's not a prince, but he doing well.
it is possible.
I mean, can we say he's doing well? I don't know. Back then, what a carpenter, or I don't know.
Hmm. Hmm.
Hey,
Yeah.
but are we willing to take a moment to reflect and really focus on what's most important and making that connection?
Hmm.
Um, I think that social media and society in general, because you have 61% of black women that are going into higher education.
Mm-hmm.
Every time you look at the percentages, when my daughter was looking at colleges, females, especially at HBCUs, the
Yeah.
percentage for females is higher. So
Mm-hmm.
more than likely, um, we will, not more than likely, it's just the case that our men are not going into higher education and getting their degrees.
Mm-hmm.
Are we willing to accept that?
Absolutely, because not every person who is well off or a
Mm-hmm.
six-figure man has a degree.
Right.
So you have people who are
That's true.
entrepreneurs
Mm-hmm.
who can go
Mm-hmm.
on to the real issue is the drive for success and what success
Mm-hmm.
looks like
Mm-hmm.
in each individual.
Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
think that's the real thing.
Yeah. Yeah. And the thing about that too, and the reason why I brought that up, because when the time when I was dating,
Mm-hmm.
I had a man that I was dating to tell me I was too educated for him.
Mm.
Broke my little heart. And I really liked him.
Wow.
I didn't have an issue with the fact, because I mean he worked at FedEx. I didn't have an issue with that.
Mm-hmm.
At the time I was a teacher, but he had a problem because of his insecurities.
Right.
And see, what happened to me was, I said in my mind, okay, I'm not talking to a man that doesn't have a college degree,
Mm-hmm.
because I'm sick of this. Actually, it happened twice. Okay, so I'm able to have a conversation. I'm too smart for you. But that
Yeah.
was his own
Insecurities.
insecurities.
Yep. And
And
there's nothing more dangerous than an insecure
that,
man.
yeah,
Very
yeah. So that,
dangerous.
I knew that we were unequally yoked, and that was going to be a
Oh,
problem.
yes.
It was going to be a
Because people who
problem.
are insecure can't handle your success or your
Mm-hmm.
security or
Mm-hmm.
confidence. So they
Mm-hmm.
have to find
Mm-hmm.
ways to bring it
You're
down to
down.
make themselves feel better. So
Absolutely.
that's why you have abusive marriages and abusive
Absolutely.
relationships.
And that's why the conversations need to be had
Mm-hmm.
at the beginning.
Absolutely.
And there should be intentional dating.
Intentional dating.
And as women, we have to stop putting ourselves in situations when we know long term we're not going to get what we want.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why we have to take the time to be okay with, okay, if he rejects me, if I don't get the ring, then that means it wasn't meant for me.
That's right.
But actually being able to modify our expectations
Mm-hmm.
and knowing that it's okay. I don't know if we're in a time when women are willing to do that,
Mm-hmm.
but we have to increase the percentage of marriage in our community for the sake of our children. And it's getting to the point we can't afford to live on our own. You need that second income.
Oh my
That's just the
gosh.
truth. And then I don't know anyone, when they get old in age and on their deathbed, looking for corporate America to be there by their side.
Not gonna happen.
Where is my family? Where is my husband?
Mm-hmm.
Where are my children? And I think people are not really thinking about that. But as I get older and I see friends, and last year I lost 6 family members,
Wow.
and just to see that, and my first child, his biological father passed away, and he was alone,
Mm-hmm.
and just thinking about that, and knowing that the companionship was not there for him, and I felt sad.
Yeah, that's a
You know,
terrible way to
that's a
go.
terrible
To
way.
die lonely with nobody
Yes,
there, that's horrible.
yes. So I don't want that for myself.
Right.
And I know that there are plenty of people, men and women, that don't want that for themselves.
Absolutely.
I was watching a podcast with a group of men 50 and over, and it was about 5 or 6 men, and each and every one of them said, I don't want to be alone.
Mm-hmm.
Black men don't want to be alone. Black women don't want to be alone. So why can't we just can't get to the point where we connect, touch and agree, and say, look, we're gonna put our things together, and we're gonna make this thing work.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Let's start communicating and doing intentional dating, teaching our children at a very young age the importance of marriage.
For sure. I agree.
Yeah, yes. So, ladies at the ball, I would like to think in my mind that they saw Matthew, Peter,
Yes.
John,
Right.
whoever else,
All the
and
disciples.
look, all of them, and said to themselves, "Self,
Let's get with him.
Let's
The
get
prince
with
is
him.
gone. The
Let's
prince is
the
gone.
prince is gone.
Let's get with
Right. And
Mhm.
he's my prince. He
Mhm.
doesn't necessarily have to be royalty. He
Right.
doesn't necessarily have to make six figure because only about 10% of the men out here are making six figures.
Right.
And when it comes to black men, what is it, 5%, 3%, somewhere around that? We got to start changing some things and really thinking about this.
That's right.
That it may be all right for my 70,000 to come with his 70,000,
That's right.
and we have 140,000.
That's right.
We can make this thing work.
We still at six figures.
Right.
Mhm.
As long as we have a healthy, successful relationship and keep the line of communication open. So I want to have a happy ending for all of the ladies,
There
not
you go.
just Cinderella, but they went into the sunset.
That's right.
Even though it's not perfect. Okay.
Mhm.
We don't live in a fairy tale because this is back to reality.
Mhm.
We're talking about
Yes.
realistic living,
Mhm.
how life really is. But this was a great conversation. I enjoyed
It
talking
was.
about this. Yeah. So thank you all for joining us, and we'll see you next time. Back to reality.